Apollo. Young and lusty, the patron of doctors and occasionally the bringer of pestilential death, enlightened Apollo inspired prophecy, music, poetry, and the civilized arts, and was the ultimate embodiment of Greek self-idealization. The Apollo Belvedere, depicting the Greek god moments after loosing an arrow from his bow and slaying the python, or, alternatively, giant Tityos. The Apollo Belvedere, depicting the Greek god moments after loosing an arrow from his bow and slaying the python, or, alternatively, giant Tityos. Belmonte 77, cc by SA 4.0. One of the chief gods of the Greek pantheon, Apollo was the patron of music, poetry, and artistic inspiration. Possibly the most beloved of all the gods, Apollo was also the patron of oracles and the giver of prophetic gifts. He was celebrated as a bringer of order and reason, and as a healer and source of the medical arts. Apollo had his share of darker characteristics as well, as he was known to spread plague by loosing his arrows. He would also mete out harsh punishments to anyone who crossed him. Apollo's many functions were reflected in his many epithets. He was called far shooter, far worker, rouser of armies, and Phoebus Apollo. He was also described as pain, helper, epikurios, assisting, oulios, healer, loimios, pestilential, and alexikakos, ill-deterring. 1. Apollo embodied the ideal of the Greek male youth. He was commonly depicted as a kouros, a statue of a young, beardless male that often carried a lyre or a bow and arrow. Worshipped in the Greek world and beyond, Apollo had dozens of temples and oracular shrines built in his honor, including the famous oracular shrine at Delphi. He was also memorialized in statues and songs known as paeans. While some have survived, others have lived on only in reputation. Apollo. Young and lusty, the patron of doctors and occasionally the bringer of pestilential death, enlightened Apollo inspired prophecy, music, poetry, and the civilized arts, and was the ultimate embodiment of Greek self-idealization. Etymology. As with most Greek deities, the etymology of Apollo had mysterious origins. One theory has said the name derived from the early Greek noun apella, meaning an assembly. This interpretation would see the name Apollo translate to he who assembles or he of the assembly, possibly referring to his reputation as the bringer of civilized order and source of civil constitutions. Another theory believed Apollo was derived from the words apile, a noun meaning promise, boast or threat, and apelio, a verb meaning to make a promise, boast, or threat. Apollo, in the words of one scholar, as the god of authoritative speech, the one who presides over all manner of speech acts, including the realms of songmaking in general and poetry in particular. 2. Family. Apollo was the child of Zeus and the Titan Leto, who delivered him and his twin sister under trying circumstances. Apollo took many lovers, both female, among them Hecuba, wife of King Priam of Troy, Poseidon's daughter Ourrea, and all 9 of the Muses, and male, including the beautiful Adonis, the Spartan prince Hyacinth, and King Admetus of Pheræ. With so many lovers, it is only natural that Apollo had many children. Among them were Asclepios, whom Apollo delivered with a caesarean, and who himself grew to be a physician with skills surpassing Apollo's own, and Orpheus, the legendary musician and prophet. Apollo also fathered Delphus, Miltos, Tennis, Epithaurus, Cors, Lycoras, Cyrus, Pissus, Marathus, and Charon, all of whom went on to found eponymously named cities. Apollo sired several noted oracles, including Apis, Aedmon, and Tenorus, among others.